Hi, I've got an update on my sourdough starters and I'm super excited about them. And they're really cool because they look different. So I'm gonna show you them. I'm gonna talk about each one and what factors I think played into how they look and what they feel like and what it means to starting a bread with them. Here are my two sourdough starters. As you can see, they look a little different. They both have bubbled up on their own. This one's older. I started it on Saturday, and the bubbles are smaller. And if you come around to the side, you can see the small bubbles throughout the whole thing. And this one I only started about 48 hours ago, so it's doing really good. It's got really large bubbles all on its own, and if I smell it, it's starting to get kind of a sour smell. If I smell this one, it also has a sour smell, but just a little different, a little more sour, almost like a beer smell. Now, even though this sourdough starter that's been going for 2 days looks really good, I would at least wait one more day of feeding this starter in order to start a bread with it. And that's just based on kind of the smell of it, but the bubbles and everything looks great. And the reason that the bubbles are smaller in my older one, I noticed this yesterday when I was working on it, it's a little bit more liquid in consistency. So what happens when the air forms is the bubbles are able to come up and release much more easier because there's just a smidge more water in the flour to water ratio than this one. So what I'm going to do when I feed it later is add just a tiny bit more flour to this one, and this one's definitely going to be good to go. I'm just going to start this video laughing because Peter's sitting at the counter right across from me. And you can't imagine exactly how awkward it is to talk to your phone while there's a human right in front of you. So I'm starting what's called the leave-in for a sourdough bread. It's the beginning of a sourdough bread. You have to start it the night before, or like at least 12 hours before, which is essentially the night before. He's like moving my stuff around. Okay, so a sourdough leave-in is the beginning of the sourdough, which you need to make the bread. And I'm using my starter, my mature starter that I started on Saturday. So it's over, what is today, Saturday? Yeah. So it's a week old. And you just take a tablespoon of the starter and mix it with half a cup of flour and a third a cup of water. Speed. Okay, I have my active sourdough starter. You might be able to see it's got a ton of bubbles. Is it focusing? That means it's active. That means there's lots of natural yeast in it and it's ready to go. Just take a tablespoon of it, plop it in, and next I have to grab the water and flour.
Is that it?
Good finish. Yeah. Okay, I got my starter. Adding half a cup of water. Mix the starter with the water. Just like that. All up in there. And now I'm getting two-thirds a cup of flour and adding it. Yes. Good morning. It has been 11 and a half hours since I started my leave-in. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really like the way it looks. Here it is. You can see a lot of bubbles have happened, but for whatever reason, I think my water to flour ratio is off. You can see that it's separated from some of the water overnight. And the small bubbles mean that there wasn't enough flour to kind of trap the air, so it all escaped. I'm gonna do what's called a float test. This is what is used to test whether it's ready to go. So this is my ultimate yes or no, this was good. You just take a tablespoon of the leave-in and drop it in a glass of water, and if it floats, that means it's aerated and bubbled up enough to start using for your loaf. Oh no, this is not gonna float. Guys, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, it's floating. No, it's sinking. Some of it's floating. I'm gonna figure out how to fix this, you guys. Hells yeah. Okay, my dough is finally ready to shape into the 2 loaves, preliminary. Look at all that. Wow. So turn it onto the counter, lightly floured. Okay. Divide it into 2. It's like lava. Such good camera skills. Okay, now I need to take each one and kind of keep folding them under until there's some surface tension on top and it resembles a ball. It's been 20 minutes. I have to shape the loaves one more time, and then they're gonna go in these floured towels in my proving baskets. Okay, my last video didn't work, but here's my doughs all nestled in the floured cloth inside just a random bowl and colander. And these have to rise for 3 to 4 hours before baking. So I'm actually gonna put them in the fridge overnight because I don't want to bake at midnight. Sorry, guys. Morning, I am finally ready to go on this bake. I got the doughs out of the fridge. They've been in there for a little bit over 12 hours. Here they are. They have a nice spring to them. See how they kind of spring back when I press them? Always a good sign, looking good. I only have one Dutch oven, so I have to cook them one at a time. The oven is preheated to 425 and my Dutch oven is in there. So I'm not gonna be able to film this. And my cameraman is busy. So I'm going to basically flip the dough into the Dutch oven and cover it, and you bake it like that for, I believe, 20 minutes. And then you take the top off, which is a really fun reveal, and bake it a little bit more, like 15 more minutes. Okay, timer's actually gonna go on for 30 minutes for the big reveal. Ooh. I don't think it's browned enough. It's like 10 more minutes. Ooh, here it is in all its glory. And we got the first loaf cut. I'm super happy with the structure of it. We both agree that the flavor is good, right? I'm getting nothing from them, but I think he likes it. Now the second loaf, I scored, but I realized I made a mistake and I didn't heat the Dutch oven up again. So when this one went in, the Dutch oven was hot and it had been sitting in the stove, so it was about 400 degrees. This one, I had taken this loaf out and then put this one in, so the Dutch oven had cooled a lot. So I'm expecting it to be a bit more dense in general rather than all these nice bubbles, but it'll probably still taste good.